I'm hot. Managing heat, a big deal on the motorcycles. Here's some of the tips I've found to manage heat as a rider. It turns out the things I've found are the tried and trues. These are the things that work no matter where I go, whether I'm here in India or whether I'm traveling through Africa or on the East Coast of the United States. These things always work. The first thing is I need to learn to acclimate to the area that I'm in. Where I am right now is almost double the temperature it is at home, and it's hot. One common error for travelers is to constantly seek out the air conditioning. Everywhere they go, they get in the restaurant, they get in their hotel rooms, they crank up the AC, and that's a terrible way to get acclimated. AC should be used early on in the acclimation just to drop your core body temperature, but then spend more time in the heat. Find a place in the shade, eat in the restaurant outside. Sit on the balcony of your hotel room rather than in the air conditioning. You want to give your body as much opportunity as possible to acclimate to the hotter temperatures. So when we're traveling, all of my gear is going to be light colored. I want white. As close as I can get to white, the better. The difference between a white jacket and a black or red jacket can be as much as 20 degrees Fahrenheit. That's huge. Even the helmet makes a big difference on temperature, not quite as much because the insulation properties of the styrofoam or that impact liner, it does help work to insulate it, but a white helmet is still cooler than a dark colored helmet. The other thing you can do with a helmet is get a tinted visor. The tinted visor will help shade the inside as well and keep the temperatures just a little bit lower and a little bit more bearable. My preference for travel gear is jackets where you can remove all of the liners, including any kind of thermal liner, any kind of waterproof liner, just so that it has better breathability all the way through. And the same is true with the boots. I prefer a boot that does not have the waterproof liners in there because in temperatures like this, it traps all the moisture in there and just stews your feet. So having just a raw leather or a breathable boot is definitely preferable. Fit of your gear also is important. If we're going to crash, if you know, today I'm going to go out and crash my motorcycle, you want your gear to be as fitted and snug and tight to your body as possible. But that's about the last time that really becomes a benefit. When it's cold, you want to have room for insulation, but the same is true when it's hot. You want to be able to have that gap in space so it can breathe, so you can get sweat underneath the skin and air can flow through. So my jackets are always going to have these large ventilation panels on them or a large gap where I can get airflow through the jacket, and that way it'll help cool me down. I've never been satisfied with mesh riding gear, and I knew it was going to be really hot here in India. So when Revit offered to let me try out the Cayenne Pro while I was here, I leapt at the opportunity, and I can tell you, I haven't been disappointed. It's performed beyond anything I could have expected, and that's being serious. This thing has these massive panels on the arms, the body, both sides of the leg, and the material they make it out of, I can feel even just the lightest breeze when I'm standing, even right now, the lightest breeze just blows clean through the jacket. Fantastic for hot weather gear. Now, like every other kind of hot weather suit, it's designed for hot weather. So when it cools down, I have to have a windproof thermal liner to wear underneath. And if it rains, I'm gonna have to wear a rain jacket over the top. But that's what I wanted. I wanted something for the heat. A couple other nice features about this suit is nice large pockets on it, but best of all on the pants, they've got this big leather patch that runs on the inside. And to me, that's a very important feature because it gives the best grip on the bike. And also it seems to be the best thing for not scratching up the paint. When you get to temperatures like 95 degrees, the strategy changes just a little bit. Instead of having these large vents where you allow cooling into the jacket, at 95 degrees, there's no cooling. So now you need to close all these vents up and actually insulate and protect yourself against the temperature. That's when you start wearing long sleeves and closing things up. This is contrary to what a lot of riders believe. When they get hot, they want to strip all the gear off, ride in t-shirts, ride in light pants. But what they don't realize is that the body has to have sweat on the skin to cause evaporation. That's what cools the body. And when you take all of that protection off, it only takes a very short period of time before it all evaporates, and then you start to overheat. And you'll see this if you look all over the world in temperatures that are extreme. The people that live in those areas are fully clothed. They cover all their skin. They protect themselves from being burned, but it also keeps them much, much cooler. Hydration is very important when it's hot. It's not just about drinking a lot of water at the beginning of the day. When it's hot, you should be drinking small amounts constantly. And if you start feeling thirsty, you know you've waited too long, and you should be drinking more water more frequently. If your lips are dry, if you're losing concentration, if you're feeling thirsty, you're not drinking enough. Make sure you're hydrating. Pay attention to your body. If you start having heat rash or feeling heat cramps, that's the first indicator that your body is overheating. You need to find shelter, you need to cool down, and you need to hydrate. If you get to the point that you have heat exhaustion, you'll start feeling very tired and sweating very profusely. But if you stop sweating, that's when you're going into heat stroke, and that's life-threatening. So other things I do to help cool off is I always carry a set of sandals with me. That way when I get off the bike for a snack or for a break, I pull off my hot boots, I put on my sandals, or I'll even strip my gear down and throw on some shorts just to get that temperature down before I get back on the road. I always end up carrying 2 tube scarves with me, and all that is just one of these scarves with a hole through the middle. This has turned out to be a tremendous asset in the fact that it helps protect my face from getting burned. It helps me from getting neck burns. I can pull it over the top and cover my face. But also I can soak this with water, and that helps keep me cool as well. Cooling vests are a high-tech way just to keep moisture next to the body. The old school way is just soaking your cotton t-shirt, because cotton works very well to wick away temperature from the body. And these cooling vests, they hold the moisture, they hold more moisture inside. Works really well, especially at speed when you have wind pulling through. And if you don't have this, wear cotton where you can soak it down. It's one of the best things to wick away temperature. I recommend a full face helmet when temperatures rise. It helps protect you from the wind blasts and getting your face chapped, never mind just getting sunburned. My final tip is pay attention to what the locals do. If the locals are getting out of the weather and out of the sun, you should be doing the same thing. If nobody's out in the midday, then you need to alter your schedule so you travel in the morning and travel in the evening. If they're wearing full covering from head to toe, then that's probably a good sign you should be doing the same thing. It's really important to make sure you manage your body temperature and don't get overheated.